If you've always wanted to know how to apply alcohol ink to canvas, here is a 10-minute class I recorded years ago for my e-course, but it's still relevant today. I'm working on moving all of the videos from my e-course here, and some of the audio was just too good to record over, so I hope you enjoy this class.
Hi guys, so I'm back and I'm here to show you guys how to prime your canvas for alcohol inks. So this is probably one of the #1 questions I get from individuals, especially people who have worked with alcohol inks before. So the difficult part about working with canvas and alcohol inks is that the canvas is porous, so meaning that the inks can absorb into the canvas quite quickly. So if you have watched my video and lesson on Yupo paper, I talked about how that Yupo paper, because it's synthetic and because it's made of plastic, that it is not porous, meaning that the ink can just spread around and move around and it dries in its own time. It doesn't absorb into the paper. So the issue with the canvas, again, is that it's porous. So you're not going to be able to have the inks flow quite as well and quite as long as you would with the Yupo paper. You have to kind of work a little bit quicker than you normally would when working with inks on canvas, because even with the priming that we're going to talk about now, you're still going to experience some absorption. They make mixed media canvas. I've found that even with the mixed media canvas, you're still going to get a lot of absorption into your canvas from the inks. So I think that the Kills 2 latex primer is a go-to no matter what type of canvas you're using. So everybody asks me, do you paint your canvas? Do you prime your canvas before you lay down your inks? And the answer is yes, I do. So no matter what type of canvas I'm working on, I prime my canvas with Kills 2 latex primer and sealer. So I don't know a lot of the scientific reasons why this specific primer is the one to use with alcohol inks. I just know that if you look on any Google searches, if you talk to anybody in the alcohol ink art community, they will tell you that Kills 2 latex primer is the one to use. If you ask me about other primers and if they work, I'm not going to be able to tell you because I haven't tried it, and I don't want to risk trying other primers at this point because the Kills 2 isn't super expensive. You can get it at any hardware store. I got this at Home Depot. You can get it on Amazon Prime. Wherever you get your homeware supplies, you'll find the Kills 2. I actually have a huge, like 3-gallon tub of it downstairs that my husband already had. So if you're married and you have a DIY spouse or partner who does a lot of things around the house, they may even already have this lying around. So ask your husband, your wife, if they know if you've got any Kills 2 lying around. If not, Home Depot, Lowe's, you'll definitely find it there. So the canvas that I'm working with today is just a standard 9x12 gallery wrapped canvas. This is a canvas that I purchased from AC Moore. There's nothing fancy about the canvas. Here, I'll show you one wrapped so you can see what they look like. So this is a wrapped version of the same type of canvas in a different size. It's the Premier by Nicole canvas from AC Moore, and it says that it's for use with acrylics and oils. And it also says it's gesso triple primed. So even when it says that the canvas has been triple primed or primed, I'm still going over it with at least one layer of the Kills 2. Because again, even with the primed canvases, you're going to get absorption, because alcohol inks, if you didn't already know, are a pretty new medium. Not a lot of stores and art supply companies even knew about alcohol inks up until the last couple of years. So I think that as time goes on, we will start to see products geared more towards alcohol inks, such as canvases and things like that. But until then, this is how we're going to do it. So I have just a typical indoor-outdoor paintbrush. This is a really cheap one. I don't spend a lot of money on these. My husband always tells me that I should spend more money on these types of paintbrushes, but I don't really notice a difference working with this brush that was maybe $2 or $3 versus a $10 version, other than I can get probably more longevity out of the more expensive ones, but I don't mind having to rebuy them every once in a while. But so yeah, this is just your standard 1.5 inch. Because of the size, I use the 1.5 inch for the 9x12. If you have a big canvas, you're gonna probably want to use a wider brush because you'll get more coverage and you won't get as many swooping lines. Because we really want to try to avoid being able to tell that we've painted and primed with the latex kills, okay? So my first tip is that when you're applying your kills, less is more. So we, just like with the inks, like we do want to get full coverage, but we are not trying to sop on the kills, because no matter how much you sop on the kills, it's not going to change how much your inks absorb. It's just going to give you an ugly canvas, is what I've found. So basically what I do is I dip my brush in just enough so that I can apply a good amount to just enough to apply to cover the area. You want to make sure that the kills is really getting into the, you can see the pores of the canvas. Ooh, painting my crystals here. We're gonna move these over. So you're gonna notice in any canvas you have the pores. I'm gonna call them pores. I don't know if that's the true art name, but you have these pores, and so you kind of, your goal here is to fill those pores, because those are the pores that are gonna absorb your inks. So you can see here that I'm not putting a super thick layer on, and I'm really getting in there with the canvas. I'm not, you know, beating up the canvas, because you don't want to dent your canvas, because canvas is pretty fragile. But I'm just making sure that it's really coating the canvas and it's really getting into those pores. Okay, so I'm just kind of going in one direction for now, just to get it covered. And if I get more of these kind of chunkier areas, I just spread it out to areas where it's not so thick, and you can always just kind of scrape your brush and remove any of the excess. Okay, so I've gotten it all going the horizontal way. So now what I want to do is I want to go, I've gotten, I think, enough kills on the canvas for this coat. Now I'm going to go the opposite way, and I'm just going to go the opposite way in one direction, okay? And so you guys can probably see here that you really can't tell that I have applied anything to the canvas. Okay, so oops, if you get excess on your edges, just go ahead and just run your paintbrush very gently along the edges here, and very gently along the edges here, and gently along the edges this way, and gently along the edges this way. And if you have any spots that you feel like are kind of chunky, or maybe you kind of notice the strokes a lot, so if you have an old crappy brush that's dried up in areas, you're gonna get these really defined swipes. So you want to avoid using anything that's been super dried or chunky. And so that's it. That's it. There's my first coat of Kills 2. So typically I only apply one coat. Some people feel more comfortable applying 2 coats, but I really don't think that that's necessary. I think that if you know how to use your inks and you learn how they work and how quickly you have to work with them when working with a canvas, I think you're going to be just fine. If you feel more comfortable and you feel like you want to add one more thin layer of Kills after this has dried completely, go for it. But if you're going to add a second layer, I don't care what the directions tell you, I would give it 24 hours of dry time. Okay, I think that if you don't give your canvas 24 hours of dry time, you are going to end up risking having flakes and chunks of the primer come off into your inks. Okay, so that's actually hasn't happened with me. I don't usually wait 24 hours at this point, but it's because I've gotten to know how to use the products. I think if you're a beginner, to be safe, wait a day. If you don't want to wait a day, 12 hours is probably enough. Or, you know, if you kills it in the morning and you want to come back to it, you know, later in the night, and you really feel the canvas and there's nothing coming off on it, go for it. But again, you're risking having the inks come off into the, the latex primer come off into the inks. So that's it, guys. That's all I do to prime my canvas. And then I might actually check my backside. Sometimes if you put on too heavy of a coat, you might get some drips on the back. So I checked mine and I don't have any drips. So I'm just gonna leave it here. And you want to make sure that wherever you're leaving your canvas is not really in a high volume, high traffic area. If you do, you're going to also run the risk of having little hairs or little dust particles kind of land on your piece. So you want to make sure that doesn't happen. So I'm going to leave this room and leave this alone for a while, and then I will be filming a second video where I'm going to actually show you how I work with the inks on the canvas. So I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you are able to prime your next canvas for working on alcohol inks. So thank you so much, and I appreciate you.